Welcome to Friends of Swenson Information Meeting. I know everyone's been kind of excited about finding out what we've been up to, and so we are really happy to be able to share the information and hopefully move our plans forward with everybody's help. I'm Susie Bowers. I'm a director on the board for Friends of Swenson that we've been working on. I'm a graduate from Lincoln High School, and I spent many hours on the golf course with my parents, driving the cart. I'm not much of a golfer. And my kids that graduated from Lincoln also played in the junior program at Swenson and also for Lincoln High School golf team. So we've all had a lot of golf experience with Swenson, love it. I've spent many hours, umpteen gazillion hours at the park, enjoying the playground, the wildlife, class reunions, barbecues, and even had some family photos down there. Right, Keith? So when I first heard about this at the end of November, actually it was the lighted boat parade, someone said to me, you know, the city council's talking about selling Swenson. And I laughed. I went, oh, that's a good one. You're just fooling me, right? That's a joke. When I found it wasn't a joke, I pulled my head out of the sand so fast, you can't believe it. And I prefer my head to be in the sand. That's the truth. I'm a simple person living a simple life, raising kids, and have a small business. And I figured, you know, our city council and our government officials, they know what they're doing, and I don't need to worry about that. So it was really a wake-up call. And I think a lot of you feel the same way. It was a wake-up call for all of us. And guess what, Stockton? We are awake. And always like, you know, when things happen like this that are difficult and scary and put us kind of on notice, like, wow, maybe we should be paying more attention, good things always come out of it. And the most exciting and best thing so far for me is just getting to know all my neighbors. I've had the privilege of speaking to so many neighbors and friends and people I didn't even know before, and we're all coming together. It's just such a big, warm community saying, no, we're not gonna do this. This can't happen. This is our neighborhood. This is our city. This is our gem, this beautiful property. And I know a lot of us have been very angry and frustrated. I think we all feel that way. So I'm just happy to be here tonight and be a part of this. Many of us have been working very hard, putting in a lot of hours, investing our own personal financial resources to make this happen and to do it in the right way. Because whether we like it or not, there are political issues going on, and we're going to have to deal with that. There are legal processes that will have to be made, and we have to do it right. It has to be correct. And one of the things I want to share with you is our mission, because I want to get really clear about that. The mission of Friends of Swenson is just this. It's very simple. To protect and save and improve the property of Swenson Golf Course and Park for generations to come. I want to be clear about this because there's been so many rumors flying and this information, which I'm sorry for that, but it's taken us a little time to figure out the right steps. We are not the recall group.
We are.
The recall group is a different group with a different mission.
Sorry.
And that's okay. Whatever your feelings are about that, that's cool. That is not Friends of Swenson mission. I just said our mission. So we have all invested time and energy and money to get to where we are right now. And you know what? Truth is, we need help. We've hit that point where we need an infusion of cash. We need financial support. We need helpers and volunteers. And I want to thank all the volunteers that came tonight to do this because they just popped in here and got to work. And it's very appreciated. So we're going to ask tonight, we have a little envelope. Maybe when you came in tonight, you got one of these. And if you didn't, we have volunteers that will hand you one. And it's an opportunity for you to help us with some financial help, make your donations however you can. You can make checks out to Friends of Swenson, or cash is great for now. We're going to have donation opportunities on our website. So we appreciate that. Thank you. I feel like I'm in church passing the plate. It kind of is like that. So anyway, we're going to cover a lot of things tonight, so I'm going to quickly go over the agenda with you. So we're doing the welcome right now, that's what I'm doing. Mission of the Friends of Swenson. And in a few moments, I'm going to introduce a vice chair of the Save Swenson Committee, Tony Manor, and he's going to go over a lot of the frequently asked questions, things we've all had questions about that we haven't really, I'll be honest with you, this has been a huge learning curve for me. And I'm still learning, and that's kind of part of what Tony's going to go over. There are a lot of smart people in this town, I found out. And what's really exciting about this is I have a feeling there's some great new leadership coming up to support our mission and other things in Stockton too. So this has been a really good thing. After Tony talks, then we're going to introduce our board president, Mr. Blair Hay, and he's going to present to you ideas that we've been working on in order to move our mission forward. And it's going to take all of us. This is not a simple issue. It's going to include our county residents, our city residents, and everyone who wants to be involved. We're going to be asking you to take some action tonight. So that'll be the second thing we do. Donate, action, get involved. And I know a lot of you are really ready to do that. So yay, thank you for all the emails and contacts offering support. It's been amazing. I'm a little overwhelmed. And if you can add yourself to our website email list, I appreciate that. It saves some work for me. And then we're going to cover the call for action that Blair's going to be talking about, and then we're going to have a Q&A session. So you get to come up here and ask your questions. And all I'm going to ask you is just remember that we are your friends and neighbors. We are not the city. We are not government people. Let's keep it positive and focused on the mission, okay? It's not a time to come up and rant about your angry side of you. We all have that, we're all angry. But that's gonna be counterproductive. So let's focus on the questions you have about how you can get involved, the things that Blair and Tony are gonna talk about, and keep it focused on that, okay? Can we all agree to that?
Yep.
All right, thank you, appreciate that. And then we'll talk about some of the committees. We'll go over the few committees. We have co-chairs and chairs here. Some of the committees are rocking it. We've already increased the revenue at the golf course just in the last, can you believe that? It's been 90 days since that December 4th meeting. We've already made some great changes, so you'll get to meet some of the chairs. And then we'll just close it out. I'm gonna try to wrap this up and be timely. Time's important. So we're gonna look at wrapping up our Q&A and our committee information at about 7:30, 7:35, so you have a chance to go to the tables, turn in your envelopes with all your money, and get involved. And then we've got to clear out of here around 8 o'clock. So you think we can do that? All right, without further ado, Mr. Tony Manor.
Hi everybody. My name is Tony Manor. I've been asked to say a few things real quick. If Karen McGlory's still in the building, could you stand up? Hi Karen. Thank you, somebody was looking for you. The other thing was, if I could get all of the volunteers that came out tonight, if they could go to the back and meet up with Don, he's got a project for you. And the final thing was, if you have a contribution, or if you need a contribution envelope, if you kind of raise your hand, and we'll get somebody out there to drop them off with you. So, the reason why I'm here. Over the last 90 days, we've been getting a ton of questions. There's a lot of people out in the community that have been reaching out to us as the conduit between what the board's doing, what the committee is doing, and what the city's doing in regards to Swenson. I wish I could tell you that the city's been feeding us with tons of information, but that hasn't really been the case. What we've had to do is go and do some research. So we've taken the questions that we've gotten through our website and through the Facebook page, and we've tried to knock them out. So hopefully we'll be able to dispel any rumors, give you some information that you can move forward with, some information that you can share with your neighbors when you're hearing about things as they're reported on the news, as they're reported in the newspaper, things that you're hearing about in the city council meetings, you'll have this information. These are all things that we've pulled specifically from the archives with the city things that we've pulled from city council meetings. They're 100% verified. So feel free to take them with you and share them with your neighbors. Now, a couple days ago, I sat down and I watched an archived episode of the city council meeting back in 2010. And for the people that have told you that this is something new, this is something that we're just now talking about, that Swenson is now in danger, and that was unfortunate. Now that Swenson's just now in danger and we're looking for options, that's just not true. These are conversations that have been taking place since far before 2010. However, in 2010, at that time, interim city manager Kevin O'Rourke was tasked with providing an analysis of the golf situation here in Stockton. He presented that document, that plan, to the city council, which at that time included Councilmember Holman, Councilmember Kathy Miller, who's now our, well, at least she's my county supervisor member. At that time, his plan outlined a course of action. One of the options that was presented was just closing both golf courses. And he suggested that that not be done. And the reason why that should be done was because the maintenance cost for those parks was going to be the same as the subsidy anyway. So the better thing to do, if the city was planning on selling those properties for development, was to hang on to them until property values increased. Anyone in this neighborhood can tell you that property values have shot through the roof. We're looking at all-time high property values for this neighborhood. People are getting $220, $230 a square foot in this area, where in other areas are getting $160 a square foot for homes. So Swenson, for a developer, is gold. It's absolute gold. So there is a huge motivation for a developer to show interest in that property, and there is even a greater motivation for the city council to sell it. And back in 2010, Kevin O'Rourke knew that. And he said, hold on to it. Hold on to it till those property values increase. Then he suggested that in order to sell it, what we'll need to do is put it up for RFP, request for proposal, to see if any developer, any business operators wanted to come in and take Swenson over and keep it a golf course. They knew at that time that nobody would take over that property because it had been left in disrepair. They had commented on the fact that it was the deferred maintenance had made that property unattainable back in 2010, and they continued to not spend money on it for the next 8 years, anticipating that this would be valuable property for a developer that would pay for all those deferred maintenance issues. Then, on the failure of the RFP, the property would be ripe for selling for development. Now, this is all in a document dated in 2010. We were told 3 months ago that we are just beginning the conversation on what to do with Swenson, and there was no plan for selling for development. We had 3 plans showing that there were 3 possibilities of how to put housing on that property that was paid for through taxpayer money, but we were told that there was no plan. This is the final plan for Swenson. This is what the city has had in mind for the last 10 years. They have done everything that the O'Rourke document said to do, step by step by step, until we get to today. The only reason I believe that that property had not been sold was because 250 people showed up at the city council meeting saying, we're not going to stand by and let you do this. Many of us attended the town hall meeting last month, and we were frustrated. We were frustrated personally because we were told that we would be given an opportunity to speak, and then that changed. And then we were told that we had to submit a card, and the people that we were sitting with, and the friends and neighbors that we had to come, because we all live in this area, we're all vested just like everybody else. We don't want to see this property taken away from our community. So when we were told that we were going to be silenced, that they were going to pick and choose which people to speak to, if they spoke to anybody, and then all answers would be submitted through the website, we still haven't received any answers to our questions. So here we are 30 days later, and we're going to provide you with the answers to the questions that we've received. Now, In regards to the Swenson profitability, in the document that was presented to us last month at that city council, or at that town hall meeting, it said, and I'll quote, "There's no plans, since 2010, the city has been working hard to make the golf operations more profitable. There is no opportunity to make the courses profitable, even with significant investment." This is the city's position. This is what they gave us 30 days ago. In the last 3 months, the Friends of Swenson, working with various community partners, have created an incredible boom to the business that's taking place at Swenson Park. You're seeing overwhelming support from the community. I got a text message this morning from a friend who said he's golfed more in the last month than he has in the last year. Our community is stepping up, and they're coming to the, they're coming out to Swenson. We're holding meetings at the clubhouse to have lunch. Everybody's throwing their money into Swenson to try and save it. So in the last 3 months, we've seen such an increase in spending at Swenson that they're on track right now to have the most profitable year in decades. So, the city has failed in making that golf park profitable, but this community has made it profitable. And I appreciate every single person that has gone out there every single morning to see the golf course, to pick up and get a tee time and go out and spend their money there, because those are the people that are really behind the reason why we show up every single week at our private meeting and try to find a solution. So you guys are doing an amazing job, and we appreciate you. This is the entire reason why we're doing this. The next question was, is this just about golf and golfers? We talk a lot about golf because Swenson has been a golf park since First Swenson was honored in its opening 60 years ago. But the reality is that Swenson Park was a place that I used to hang out with when I went to Lincoln High School. My friends would go there. I'd sneak across the street and get chili fries at the clubhouse. It's an integral part of this community. There's houses that are backed up that don't even have a back fence, so that those people can look onto the golf course and see the foxes and see the animals and see the trees that line that property. But beyond that, it provides an ecological function that's critical for this part of Stockton. We are completely surrounded by the most traveled streets in Stockton, between I-5, Hammer Lane, Bend, Holt, Alexandria, and Pacific Avenue. It creates an incredible amount of carbon dioxide and smog for this community. Swenson creates a fountain of oxygen that pushes that smog out of our community. Now, every single acre of green space creates a certain amount of oxygen. They estimated it at about enough for 64 people. Swenson alone creates enough oxygen for 14,000 Stocktonians every single year. And we can't discount that. We can't trade those acres for little tiny community parks, because it's not going to provide the same amount of benefit to our children, my kids, although my kid has an inhaler. I live in this neighborhood. If Swenson's gone, I have to be concerned about him, and I have to concern myself with where we might have to move so that he can breathe at night. So this is a critical issue from a health perspective, from an ecological perspective, from an economic perspective. Swenson has to stay. The next question was, how much does the city pay in subsidies to Swenson Park? Now I'm going to read this because there's a lot of numbers and I didn't memorize them. The subsidy numbers for Swenson Park provided by the city have been a little bit murky. A lot of you will remember when we first got the numbers, it was $850,000 and it was evenly split between the two parks. And we could all smell that that was a little bit funky. That was absolutely incorrect. When we started digging in, we were hearing numbers of Swenson was really closer to maybe $85,000 and the rest was Van Busker. And not to throw Van Busker under the bus, because they have their own struggles. But we're focused on Swenson right now. When we went back to the city said, okay, well maybe it's $220,000 is the golf subsidy. But they wouldn't tell us what that money was spent on. We asked for a detailed profit and loss statement from the business. We couldn't get anywhere. We were told that all that money goes into, and if you watch that meeting back in 2010, you'll hear the city staff come in and say, all the money from Swenson Swenson and all the money from Bed and Busker goes into one pot. And then it's split evenly back into the needs of the two golf parks. That's not a way to run a business. There's no way that you can update Swenson and make it competitive and make it more accommodating for people in wheelchairs or golf cart paths when you're taking a majority of the profits and spending it somewhere else. You're crippling that business. So we took a look at the subsidies and said that until we can get a profit and loss statement, we can't find out if it's a labor issue, if it's a maintenance issue, if it's a facilities issue. We need to take a look at those numbers. Now, maybe we can find other solutions, and I think that's really what it comes down to with the profit and loss statement. We can find solutions if we know what the problems are, but they gotta tell us what the problems are. Does Stockton subsidize other parks? That was a very common question that we got, is what is the city paying for other parks, other facilities? The arena, the marina, the ballpark. What is the city paying for those? And we have not only subsidies for all of those businesses, which go into the millions. We're talking $5 million is the pot that you would pay for the marina and the arena and the ballpark. But also the city subsidizes the developers in North Stockton. Now, we haven't seen a lot of home building in North Stockton until recently, when the economy got better. But there have been parks, and this year in the city budget, we have slated $12 million to build 5 very, very small parks in North Stockton. This is a developer subsidy. These parks built in these neighborhoods, while a benefit to Stocktonians, make the houses that these developers are building more valuable. This is an expense the developer should be carrying, not the citizens of Stockton. That $12 million would pay all the deferred maintenance in Swenson, all the deferred maintenance in Van Busker, and bring them all up to modern numbers. But we're spending those on these little tiny parks that all combined are 1/10 the size of Swenson. Now, the next question was, Stockton just can't afford the golf subsidy. This $200,000, $220,000 that we're supposedly paying in golf subsidies to Swenson is crippling the city of Stockton. We already know that that's not true. The city budget is almost $700 million. Granted, a good portion of that is labor, like with any business. So we have our infrastructure costs, firefighters, police officers, all those types of things. Understand. But that still leaves $350 million a year that we use for Parks and Rec and maintenance and streets and roads and things of that nature. Of that, the city spends millions on all of these other things. But I think the one, when I was doing my research, that frustrated me the most was the $200,000 that we were spending on a brick enclosure for a dumpster at Victory Park. We need concrete enclosures for dumpsters, but you can't cry poverty in one hand and then spend that exact same amount somewhere else to protect the garbage cans. 2 minutes, I promise. I can go all night, but 2 minutes. I know I'm already driving meds. Is Swenson still competitive in a saturated market? We heard this a lot at the town hall meeting. That golf is on the downslide, that people just aren't coming out to golf, and all these other golf courses are struggling. And that's 100% true. However, the fastest growing commercial restaurant chain in the United States happens to be a golf-themed restaurant, and they just opened up a multi-million-dollar complex in Sacramento. But again, golf is on the downslide, so that's fine. It's on such a downslide that 3 golf courses have closed in the 90 days that we've started this. Those golfers need some place to go. We are seeing those golfers show up at Swenson. We need to update our facilities, put in cart paths, put in banquet facilities, put in all the things that we need to have tournaments to provide the amenities that the private courses are offering at an affordable municipal cost. These are the things that we can do. We can afford this. And Blair's going to explain to you how we're going to afford it without giving the city any reason to cry poverty. So the last question we got is the city really on the brink of a decision? Yeah. In my notes it says no, but to be honest, they are. They've had 8 years that they've been planning this. 8 years that they've been waiting for the property values to increase. 8 years that they've been slacking off on deferred maintenance. 8 years that they've been flushing Swenson down the toilet for the opportunity to sell it for a windfall of developer cash. So, are they on the brink? Absolutely. And I think the only thing stopping them is you, us, and apathy. The absolute lack of care for what has become really a prideful part of North Stockton. And Stockton is running low on things to be proud about. So please help us save Swenson. If you have anything that you can contribute to an envelope, it's all going exclusively to the measures that we're going to take to protect this property for my grandkids, my great-grandkids, hopefully for as long as Stockton's around. So please help me welcome to the microphone Blair. He's going to explain to you exactly what the plan is, and then we're going to talk a little bit and get some more questions from you folks, and anything that we can't answer tonight, we actually will post answers to on our website. So please visit us at francisswenson.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for being here tonight, taking time out of your lives. It is overwhelming to see all of you here. It was just 90 days ago we started this journey, and it looks like this is the start of something that maybe you'll be able to tell your grandchildren that you were there when we transformed Swenson Park into a community jewel of the pride of Stockton. This diverse team that came together barely knew each other 90 days ago, yet they've all contributed mightily to the team that we are today. And we've learned a lot of things over the period of time. One of the things we've learned is we have to form two groups. Politics being what it is, and the laws, we have to actually form two groups. Save Swenson, which is our political arm, and Swenson, which is our educational arm. I'd like to introduce the members of the two teams here. So from Save Swenson, Dion Dahlman, our president. Keith Brigad here in the green shirt, our secretary. Randy Burns, white shirt back there, treasurer at Save Swenson. Tony Manner, director and vice president. And Tom Downer, who will be with us tonight, also a director. From the Friends of Swenson, I'm Blair Hake, I'm the president. Susie Bowers, our secretary. Julie Whitehouse, our treasurer. Dean Gould, director. Karen Emerson, director. Karen's out here somewhere, I believe. These and many others, including the Audubon Society, the Stockton Tree Foundation, many of you that are here in the audience, have assisted us with ideas and information. It's been invaluable. And for that, thank you very much. Since that night 90 days ago, we've all learned a lot about our city, county, state governments, and how they operate and or don't operate. I do want to thank the 4 city council people who stood up on December 4th, said no to any development on Swenson Park. Councilperson Christina Pagazzi, Councilperson Susan Loftus, I don't believe Councilperson Susan Lentz or Dan Ryder are here. They're at the 5 Mile SLU meeting, but thank them also. Without them buying us some time, we would have all been over that night back in December. And now we're going to need to go back to them and the entire city council to help preserve and enhance Swenson Park for future generations to enjoy. We've learned that it's not just this city council, but the city council back in 2010, as mentioned earlier, The city councils to come 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 50 years from now, they might try to sell otherwise encumbered the city asset and take what we all cherish away from us. We also recognize that the city has a lot of deferred maintenance and needed improvements to make Swenson Park competitive and accessible to the residents. We spent many hours of our personal time researching various proposals such as rezoning, petitions, initiatives, but they all had a fatal flaw. Every one of them could be overturned by this city council or subsequent city councils with 4 votes. Then one day I received a call from Jim Giles, who lives here in the neighborhood, and he shows me a proposal that appears to meet all our criteria. I kept looking it over, did a little research, and went, wow, this looks really good. It allows for commercial enterprise, allows for us to make improvements, has a funding mechanism. It includes city and the county residents, and most of all, it removes the threat that City of Stockton will recover, sell, or change the green space known as Swenson Park. Which brings us to our proposal. The Swenson Oaks Recreational and Park District. California law under the Public Resource Code recognizes the value of recreation. Parks and open space facilities is an important part of the quality of life for all Californians. Code provides for and encourages the establishment of parks districts in local communities. A purpose of the park district is to provide recreation, park, and open space facilities and recreational services within a specified area and under local control. In our proposal, we include city and county residents so that all are represented and able to elect a board. This is a new concept for San Joaquin County. I wasn't able to find a park district in the county. We have recreation districts, which some of you may be familiar with. But just to our north, Sacramento County has over 20 park districts for their residents up there. Formation of the district is aided and overseen by the local agency Formation Commission of San Joaquin County, which is also known as LAFCO. We've been working with them on this proposal. We're fortunate to have the current chair of LAFCO here tonight to explain 2 options for formation of the district. And this is key because there is 2 ways to go about it. So with that, I'm going to bring up County Supervisor, current LAFCO Chair, Tom Patty.
Thank you, Blair. I am here tonight on behalf of LAFCO, and I was recently appointed as a chairman, but also, aside from that, I'm a resident in Stockton. As a county supervisor, my district, school district, is primarily Lincoln Unified. So I've got a family that lives right down the street. We're all impacted, and I want to speak just as that as a citizen and as a county supervisor. We're very aware of these issues. Primarily, before I say much else, I want to recognize everybody here and this panel that has spent their time and their energy and their efforts without pay, just with passion, to create a pathway to success. They've done a lot of work and they've put a lot of effort into this. They've done a lot of research. So I'd like everybody here to recognize yourselves and this panel and the effort that you guys all have. We also have with us here Tony Yaden. He's a board member for Lincoln Unified School District. I know that he's highly engaged. Tony, wave please. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate you taking calls and the engagement that Lincoln Unified and through you, that you're very much present, and we appreciate that. Supervisor Kathy Miller, this is her district, and she has a prior county obligation. So I did get a message from her. I spoke with her, and she wanted to let you know that she is engaged. She is at a prior engagement and obligation, but she's obviously very much aware of what's going on here. I think it says a lot that we have Christina Fugazi and Susan Loftus, two of your city council members, and that kind of segues into what I wanted to share as a member of the commission for LAFCO. Now, LAFCO is a local agency formation committee, and we've got a wonderful director. His name's Jim Glaser, and I wanted to write down, I met with him earlier today, and we reviewed this issue. I want to let you know the exact language that we shared. One of the pathways to success in helping create this independent panel, that's the independent, what do we have here? Park District? Okay, independent Park District, is if you can get the city and the county to support the adoption of a resolution of application creating a separate Parks and Recreation District with their own governing board. So, if you get city to buy on, and we're paying attention at the county level, and this comes before us, and I am not speaking on behalf of the county in any capacity, but we will be observing and watching what the city's doing, and we're going to want to, when the time is right, engage and participate. Blair's got a couple of options to lay out. That was one of them. So on behalf of LAFCO, there's a pathway to success, and it does work in partnership and in concert with your city representatives. So the fact that you, again, got Susan and you've got Christina here says a lot, and through them and with them, there's a pathway to get there. So I thank you again for being here. We're engaged at multiple levels, and the fact that you're here speaks volumes. Your local politicians are paying attention, and it has made a resounding impression on how you feel and where you can go. So keep up the good work, push, promote, sign on, make sure you're up, your all of your information, you've got the contact information. We know how to be able to, so that Blair and this panel knows how to reach you, so that when there's a time to be activated and motivated and participate, you can be present, because it does matter. So I thank you and recognize and appreciate all that you guys are doing to get this far. Cheers to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Tom. And I also want to mention Susan Lentz did call today and offer her support for saving Swenson. The other way if we don't get the declaration of support by the city and the county is if we go out and petition the residents. And going down that path would take more time, money, and we would need 25% of the residents within the district to say okay. I don't think that's insurmountable, but it would be sure nice if the city got on board and said, hey, this is what we want to do. The county got on board and supported the efforts. That would definitely help speed up the process of establishing the district. Okay, so, once formed, by the approval of LAFCO, the district will initially be governed by 5 directors, elected from within the district. So, not somebody from Tracy is going to be representing that part, and it's going to be somebody you elect. The district will negotiate with the city for acquiring the land. They'll also have the powers of eminent domain if necessary. We hope that's not even somewhere we want to go. They'll also be able to operate the park under a joint powers agreement with the city if they deem that the best course of action. Again, that will be up to the directors of the district. Establishing the park district costs a lot of money. Initial estimates are around $100,000 if we have to go the route of the petition, because it also involves some engineering studies, and it gets quite expensive. It'll also take a lot longer. May I reiterate, the declaration by the city and the county board of supervisors will speed up the establishment of the park district. I'm not just talking to you two, but we're aware that each council member also has funds available for his or her own use, so that's our time to also ask for donations to this worthy cause, such as improving the quality of life for all Stocktonians. We also hope our county board of supervisors find some funds to assist this endeavor to improve the ability to, or quality of life for their constituents here. We'll also be raising funds through events such as our upcoming golf tournament that we're having in May. We'll get some more information on that later. Right now, our volunteers are going to be passing out an advisory petition. This is to, we hope to take to the city council, requesting the council drop the proposal to sell Swenson Park to a developer and build what they call affordable housing. We'd ask that you sign the petition, turn it in before you leave, or if you're willing, take the petition around your neighborhood and ask others to sign. If you do that, will you please tear off, there's a little paper on the top, just tear it off, put your name, contact phone number, email, and what we'll do is we'll contact you after the meeting with the question and answer sheet. We can either email it to you, fax or whatever. So you can respond to any questions you get from those you contact. We'd like everybody to complete this task, the petition. It's just an advisory petition to go to the city council and say, hey, slow down here. There's a lot of people that are really interested in this Parks District and preserving this land and this green space. But if you can complete this task by April 15th, if you need additional petitions, we can email them to you if you'd like to get your friends to help you. Our volunteers will also be passing out the clipboards with cards on which you can indicate your support for the efforts. We need people to go door to door in the neighborhoods. We need people to write letters to the newspaper of our elected officials. And our elected officials. We need people to help organize these community events that we're putting on, like Cars and Coffee event in Swenson Park on March 12th, that's coming up this Sunday. What's more, some of the projects the Park District Board may undertake include construction of a community and banquet center, that possibly can be used for school programs in conjunction with Lincoln Unified, an activity center for seniors, a banquet facility to be used for weddings or for golf tournaments. The district could assist the city and county as appropriate with the improvements of the park and the restoration of 5 Mile Creek. Some of the needed capital improvements that we're all aware of at the park include cart paths, irrigation, and fencing. We also have possibilities working with Lincoln Unified Administration and students doing habitat restoration. There's several acres down the middle of the park that have been used as a dumping ground by the city of Stockton for all their other parks. That material, which covers roughly 3 acres, needs to be removed. But once removed, it could be an area for habitat restoration. All these projects cost money, but will enhance the aesthetic and financial stability of Swenson Park. We believe a small parcel assessment to enhance Swenson Park is preferable to the possibility of a Melrose assessment to fund the estimated $100 million of new school facilities and the adverse environmental and quality of life impact that developing Swenson Park would incur. In closing, before we get to our next day, I want to thank somebody who came before all of us. Bert Swenson, some 67 years ago, had the foresight to plan what became Swenson Park. We now know it's up to this generation, those of us here in the room, to plan for those who will live in Stockton 100 years from now. May we not only preserve and enhance Swenson Park, but let us develop more Swenson Parks throughout the community for future generations to enjoy. Thank you.
Wow, is your mind blown yet? Because mine is. All right, well, it's time for our question and answer session. So if you have a question for our panel, or we'll try to include everybody, just come on up.
My name is Montecuzoma Sanchez. I graduated from New Lincoln High School. My daughter goes to school across the street. She'll be going here next year. And I'm not necessarily a golfer, but I do believe that this is not only a golfing issue. I believe this is a quality of life for the neighborhood and for this area of town issue. My question is, and it's a little disappointing to see that the county supervisor for this area is not here for the second time. And my question is, what plan do you have in place? I see a lot of candidates here tonight that are running for office, for city council, county supervisor. Full disclosure, I'm a candidate for county supervisor in District 2 against Kathy Miller, but I'm not here for that today, but I have to disclose that. My question is, what plan do you have in place to get commitments from the candidates who are running for office, both city and county? Because catch-22 is, this is a county, it's a city issue, but it's really a county issue, because this whole area is county, but it's city property. So we're in a bit of a catch-22 here. But both should be working together, whether there is a 2x2 committee or whatever commitment they can make. The city and the county should have no excuse to be working in partnership to save this golf course. What plan do you have in place, whether it's through the PAC or through the nonprofit, to get commitments from the candidates who are running for office, both city and county, on where they stand on this issue and what they will do should they get elected? Because I can give you my commitment right now that should I get elected, I will be 100% in support of saving Swenson and doing everything I can to use my influence and my position, whether it's a county elected official or a community activist, to save this part of this community. What plan do you have in place to get that and to publicize that to the community so that we can be better informed in making our decisions come true?
Okay, that's actually a question for the PAC side, but since I know the answer, I believe filing deadline is this Friday when it's getting close, so we at least know the candidates who will be running for the various offices on the city and the county board of supervisors. It is our intention to send out a questionnaire on the PAC side and publish those findings once we get the answers back. So that
answers the question.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is John Boyce, and I live here in Lincoln Village West. 2003, I think it was Measure F, was passed by the people of Stockton, by the city of Stockton. And that measure required the sale of any public utility by the city to come before a vote. That sale would involve more than $5 million in assets. You know, I was looking that up and in more detail, and that piece of our municipal code requires that it limited it only to the water maintenance system. Because at the time, we were fighting to prevent the privatization of the water system in Stockton. So it sounds like this is going to evolve now to a petition gathering exercise to establish a local area for a local park district. So we're going to eventually, I mean, presuming that the city is not going to just roll over and join this because they want to sell the property for vast sums of money. So if we're going to be doing this, does anyone consider amending the municipal code to include all public assets and utilities, require that a sale of any of those things be put to a vote? It might be an easier petition to move than what you're proposing. I don't know if it's been considered or not or rejected. Could you answer that? Thank you.
Was considered. One thing with a petition like that requires a citywide vote and a higher threshold. We only have to, if we go the petition route with the park district, we need 25% of the voters in the district. And the district does not have to include the entire city.
Okay, so it would be an easier one that would be the petition for the local area, for the
local parks and recreation.
Because it's a lesser number of signatures, fewer number of signatures you have to gather, right? Do you have a number for how many signatures we'd have to gather on the petition?
No, that's going to come out later as we have these engineering studies that have to be done and determine the exact boundaries of the district, which will also give us the number of voters, which will tell us that number you're looking at, the 25%.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. So at the first meeting over at the golf course, the question was asked, why don't we separate the two golf courses? And Mr. Tubbs stated that since 2010, that the Van Busker family was unable to be found. So when we had the meeting over at Sierra School, I sent a question in via the email, and I did get an answer back from Connie Cochran, and she stated that they had contact with the Van Busker family in 2014. And I remember Mr. Tubbs stating that that they had not talked to or been able to find since 2010. So my question tonight is, has anything come about that, about separating the two parks in all that you're doing? So that's a question that everybody's asking.
Well, that's, our proposal is about Swenson. The mayor has plans for Van Busker, that's fine. I'm not gonna get his way. If I was a resident of the Van Busker area, they may want to copy what we're doing and try that down there. I think it's something worth exploring.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Gene?
I did a little research, and the reason for the city not wanting to split the two parks is because they believe in economy of scale for professional management. So if we are going to have an RFP from the city, then if they don't want to pick up both golf courses, only want to pick up Swenson, our management fees would be much higher. And so we may need to consider getting community management. I know when I talked to the city manager, there was a lady with me. She says, I would be happy to manage that for $60,000 a year. I've been over at the golf course, and the general manager, most of the time, is gone by early afternoon. He's done all that he has to do. So
Your question is?
the question is, can we get private management from the community?
Oh, for Van Busker? That would be a question for the city manager.
Swenson.
Okay, well, that's not the route we're going. We're going for the park district.
I understand
Yeah.
that.
Now, the board, once elected, can choose who they want to manage it through an RFP or otherwise, if there's a local person that they want to have as a manager.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Blair.
Hi.
Fred Brumell. So we now know that the annual subsidy is $220,000, not the $850 or $1 million that the mayor.
That would be an estimate, because
Okay,
nobody
that's
truly has.
approximate, yeah, because we don't need to get down to we
Yes.
have to agree on that. I mean, it's substantially less than what had been suggested it was. We know that the capital improvements is not a 7 million, but more like $1.5 million. We know that the cost per play is about 564, not the 17 that was proposed. So here we are, knowing all this, but I suggest that probably the people in this room may be the only ones that know that's paying attention to this issue. And so what happens, and you've seen it, is we get comments like we have to plug that hole. And they're referring to the 850,000 or the million, not the 220, because that's the only thing that's talked about. My point to you, Blair, is that we need to figure out how we can either get our city council person or someone to step forward and have the city reestablish what the actual numbers are. So that we're not sitting here with false, substantially overstated numbers that really create a false crisis. Have you thought about how we're going to do that, or can we do that?
Well, there's two issues there. One is, even if I get those numbers that you're talking about, that still doesn't preclude them from just saying we want to sell it because we want the money. And that's why we came up with this proposal.
I think it's a great proposal, by the way. I'm sorry.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm just saying, because at this point, you're saying they're still moving forward. I would like to hear them say, here's what our problem is. we can't pay $564 per play or use. And the second part of that is, we all know that they spend money on other per use parks. And how much are they willing to allocate to that 564 before they think it's where it should be?
Right.
So it may not be 564, maybe they'd give us $3. You know, so we're $2 off.
And that's actually in our proposal, when we get down to it, the negotiations with the city, once the park district board is elected, they will probably want some of that money that's going to.
Ben.
Yes.
Yeah. So my only point, I guess my question and request is, I think it seems to me that we're allowing them to continue on with these substantially inflated numbers that create a crisis, when we should be saying, why don't you restate the actual numbers based on one, just on Swenson, so that we know what we're dealing with. Tell us how much money, based on some type of metric that you've developed, that you're applying across the city. Tell us what that subsidy should be, and we'll know what we have to work to resolve.
Fred, I think they've been asked that question probably 100 times, and you probably got the same response that we got.
Yes.
But keep asking your city manager and your director of Parks and Rec and see what, if you ever get into it.
It'd be nice to see, I guess, and I'll leave it at this, my point is, it'd be nice to see as a group that we all support that, and not just one person. And I'm sure you do too, I don't mean to imply you don't, but I'm saying vocally as a group, we request the city to restate the problem based on Swenson. And then let us focus on that, not this other number that has nothing to do with it.
The problem is, you find out that number, and you still have a situation where 4 votes could take Swenson away.
I totally agree with you.
Regardless.
I would do these parallel. I'm not suggesting don't do what you're doing. I think it's great.
Okay.
I'm saying we need to look at the other side of it too, so that they don't continue moving forward with an artificial crisis.
Right. And that's one of the things we don't want to move forward, which is why we have the petition here, is because we want to deliver this petition to the city council and say, hey, while we're doing this process, we don't want you to find your 4 votes and sell them.
I think it'd just be, I'll leave with this, I think it'd be very helpful if they would at least agree with us that we are focused on the same numbers, and those numbers are nowhere near the way they represent.
Thank you, Fred.
I couldn't just sit here and not respond, because as a member of the city council, I will tell you that I am hearing exactly what everybody in this room is saying, what people have been said. And I know Councilwoman Lenz and Councilwoman Loftus, who is here tonight, also have been. I also know that there's candidates in this room for both city council and county board of supervisors, and we are all listening. And if we want to serve you as your elected official, then we have an obligation to listen to what you want. So if we are going to do this, I pledge my allegiance to this process. I will say that right here, right now, as long as I am your public servant, I don't care what district we're talking about, it takes 4 votes, and I will work with our county supervisors, with Supervisor Patty, with Supervisor Villapudua, with whatever supervisor is up there, to get to where we need to be to ensure that Swenson is here for generations to come. And so numbers or no numbers, the numbers at this point, it's 4 votes. It's 4 votes of council, it's 3 votes of supervisors. And quite frankly, I've asked for the numbers as well. I know Councilwoman Loftus has asked for those numbers as well, and they change daily. So I don't know if people don't really know what the numbers are because they put them all together. I'm not quite sure, but I will tell you that I am with you, and I know Councilwoman Loftus, who's here tonight, is. I know the other people that are running for office, they wouldn't be here if they weren't here to support you.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Very well stated. My name is Terrence West, and I'm glad to be here. I just got a simple question. What is our time frame that we're looking at to act? And after we put in all this effort, all this hard work, can the city, regardless of the fact that we work hard, can they still sell the property after all the stuff we do?
They can sell the property with 4 votes, and it's all done. That's why our sense of urgency of coming out tonight was, We gotta get this out there to the public, we gotta get this moving, we gotta get this process, yes? We need money to help to get this process done. And it is a process, like Tom talked about, we have to get LAFCO involved. If we can get the city and the county to get behind it, it makes this process much easier, much quicker. But it is a process, and there are some engineering studies that have to be done for the district. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Just a couple of questions about the district. Is there a minimum size to the district?
Not that I'm aware of, not in the code I read.
Seems obvious that everybody within 2 blocks of Swenson will be 100% in favor, and then the farther out you go, there'll be less favor.
Absolutely.
So how are you envisioning what the size of this district is and what you're going to include?
We're looking at that, but it's not been decided yet. No.
And just so everybody knows, that would be an assessment district, but within that
That's
district.
correct. Yes.
Assessed, right?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, there would be some kind of assessment. So to your earlier statement, the more houses, the lower the assessment. And you have to figure out that magic boundary of what it is so that you can keep that assessment very low. And that's our intention, to keep it low, to take care of the necessary.
Note that it's a lot less than the 90 million of the Melrose.
It's a lot less than the 100 million for the Melrose for Lincoln Unified.
If it does go to be built, you're looking at a $100 million Melrose tax added on to the Village School District alone.
That's just an estimate, but yes, yeah.
Just that alone, that's almost $3,000 per household.
Right.
Thank you.
My question, from my understanding, Kimber's put in an RFP the last 4 years in a row, and it's been denied. So how do we know this is going to go through? If they won't let the RFP go through for the Kimber, and they've been trying for 4 years, what makes you think we're going to get this through?
That's where we need your help.
I got that.
We need you to sign the petition. We may need you to walk houses to get that 25%. The other route is the 25%, where you essentially bypass the city, but then it becomes an adversarial.
The county's on board from what I figured the county's on board, I got that.
Yeah, and I don't want, it would be so much easier. So if you can pick up the phone and call the members on the city council or the county board supervisor represents you.
And we have.
Get it, yeah, thank you. Well, now that you've got something specific, once we get this declaration proposal together, and we got to get them involved, we're going to need people to write letters, we got to get public opinion and just say this is what's going to happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Steve Smith, and to clarify, I'm running for County Board of Supervisors Area 2, this area. I grew up in Lincoln Village West. I went to Lincoln High School, and to this day, my 99-year-old grandfather still golfs. He's a World War II vet, still golfs.
Awesome. That's why we're doing it.
You've answered a lot of our questions. One of my questions is, when you had conversations with the city, they were talking about the $850,000, and so roughly Swenson was a burden by about 15%. As a businessman, we can fix 15%, but
it may even be less than that.
So what was the marketing plan that the management company had in the last 5 years? Has anybody asked that question?
I actually saw it involve, I think, some Facebook ads, magazine ads.
The city kind of controls most of what they can do. They're handcuffed to what they can do, who they can bring, what kind of people, what type of events they can have. They're very limited to what they can. It's in a contract. So for us to have a big golf court tournament and be able to bring food on camp, food so I can feed the people in the tournament, I can't do it. They have to provide the food so they can make the money, but they can't provide the food. They can't provide enough room for me to have 144 golfers. I'm limited to how many golfers because I don't have enough golf carts. So the reason why we're losing money is because it's not built and it doesn't have the facilities needed to run the tournaments that all these other golf courses around are doing. So we're going to be having a golf course tournament there. I can only have 100 for them, flyers, advertisement through, through the company they use, but they're limited. They're limited to what they can do. They don't have the money to do it. So they're giving money for a certain amount of employees. That's what they get. They can't have an extra employee cover a shift if they're a little busy that night. So they're limited.
Well, I absolutely support what you're doing. Thank you for what you're doing. Thanks for what everybody's doing here. And I know that when this does pass, there'll be a good business plan for Swenson. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Yes, Councilwoman Loftus.
Hi, I'm Susan Loftus. I'm the city council member for this district. I'm exceedingly grateful for this. Maybe it could be a 4-vote thing, but not with a community like this. I don't think there's any chance in the world that you can stop the city from doing something that you don't want them to do. I mean, look at the power of the people. It's amazing the attention that everybody has gathered for this, and the committee that they have set up, and the free time that they have committed to put into making a proposal that's possible. And I just want to applaud you and thank you. And if there's ever anything I can do with you, for you, I did respond to the golf tournament. I am buying a hole, sponsoring a hole for $100 for your golf tournament. I did that on...
You went up to 200.
Who wasn't here today, to hopefully introducing that resolution of support. We'll work with you and get that together. Thank you so much, because like I said, without your votes that night on December 4th, we wouldn't be here tonight. They'd be bulldozers across the street, so thank you.
And I know you and I have had some conversations where you're kind of shocked about some of the rules about the Brown Act and how we can talk to each other.
Also, just two of you, you're okay.
Well, you can talk to 3 people about the same topic, but when we stand up together and united like we are, makes a big difference.
Thank you.
And we can't do it without you, all of you. And Susie needs money, so give her money.
Yeah, and actually, we have to buy insurance to have the event here tonight. And tons of other costs we're incurring, but thank you very much. Are there any other questions before I turn it back to Susan?
Please forgive me. My name is Bob Pence. I'm a little confused. In 1948, my dad bought a house right over there. In 1955, my dad bought a house right over there. In 1974, I bought a house right over there. And today, I own a house right over here.
Move a lot.
I'm over 70, thank you. I've been around a long time. And I'm tickled that we have some political people out here either supporting us or pretending to support us today. You need to read the actions of people, not the phony words. The bottom line is, my dad was a founder of that thing right over there that they're trying to take away from us. And if you don't support the recall, you got nothing.
Thank you very much. We all have some feelings about that too, but we're not going to talk about that tonight. Thank you all for your questions, and I really appreciate it, staying positive. So what we're going to talk about now is even more fun stuff. Well, first of all, we're going to talk about how we need your help. So donate, fill out and turn in the little form that you were given on the clipboard, or take a petition to get signed by your neighbors and fill out the little postcard and give it to the girls in the back, and someone can come get it if you hold your hand up, or you can drop it in the box. Okay, is that pretty clear? Your neighbors to sign the advisory petition. We've got to move forward, even if we try to go other routes, we still need to keep moving forward, okay? We all agree on that? Got it. Okay. All right, committees. Who's here to get on committees? Wants to get invited, get going and working on things? We got so much great stuff going on. And now's your opportunity to sign up. A lot of things have been getting organized. It's taken us a little time to kind of connect the dots and get everybody into the same, the same circle, because there's people doing this and people doing that. So here's what's going on. You've heard of Cars and Coffee? That's coming up on Sunday morning. Dion Dalton's got a huge driving force. They raised like $5,000 for junior golf. That's huge, you guys. That's a big deal. More cars showed up than they knew what to do with. Farmers Market is going to be starting in May. And it will be every Wednesday, starting May 2nd at Swenson Park. And we're getting a huge response on people wanting to come out, vendors. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you have questions about that, contact Sherry. Just so you know, all of this is on our website, so you don't have to write it down right now. This is my favorite part. Sounds of Swenson, concerts in the park. We've got music people involved, people that have bands, we've got city representatives, Pixie Woodboard, people that are helping get that organized, people from Victory Park that have come to help us get this organized, and this thing is rocking. But guess what? In order to move forward with that, we need what? Money. Everything costs something. We've got to get the dates solidified. There are city permits and things that have to be in place. So we need your help with that. If you're interested in finding out more about getting involved with that, you want to talk to Roger. Come on, raise your hand, Roger. He's the co-chair for Sounds of Swenson. We're going to have a blast with that. Right now they're scheduling 4 concerts for this summer, but we're hoping that will grow and we'll have even more. The golf tournament, Play to Save Swenson. We have a golf tournament coming up, and I think our chair for that is Randy Burns. He'd like to say a few words.
Good evening, I'm Randy Burns, and I'm a lifelong resident here in the city of Stockton. And I've been with this from day one. I'm very vested here. My wife teaches at Lincoln Unified, my kids attend Lincoln Unified. I live 1/4 of a mile from here. I play, I'm very much a regular at Swenson. Walk my dog to the park over here, so I have a lot vested. So in order to make this happen, we have to do a lot of fundraising events, and one of them that we came together with is a golf tournament, and that's going to be held Friday, May 18th at Swenson, of course. We're going to be looking for sponsorship, so at that back table on the end there's a volunteer sign-up sheet, and you can contribute by volunteering to help out at the event. You can donate any way that you want to help out. If we get your name and contact number, we'll get a hold of you and let you know how you can do that. Now there's just one other thing I want to say. I'll get off, I'm sure. The donations. Now this is coming from Treasurer Randy Burns. When you fill out your donations, anytime that you make those contributions, please fill out as much information as possible. Being this political action, you're going to be held to very strict accountability by the IRS, right? We don't want any trouble there. So when you do make your donations, please fill out as much information as possible. It really helps us out. Thank you, and again, I'm really sorry that we're even here. I am. We'll get through it.
Okay, so your opportunity to sign up for committees and get involved in all these projects. And I know there's other projects going on as well, but we're going to stop with this tonight because I know it's been a little overwhelming, a lot of info on. So, okay, and we're going to move on from that. So if you didn't get your sign or your banner, do we still have any left? Yeah, we have signs still available for the yard, for your business, and you can order banners. Keith Forgat's in charge of ordering banners, and he's right here in this lovely green shirt. So I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. We are a wonderful neighborhood, and we're a wonderful community, and we're all in this together. And if we can move this thing forward with the help of our city, this will be something we'll be proud of forever. It'll be a legacy for our